afternoon, class. So I will be your teacher this afternoon. So before we start our discussion for today, let's first have a prayer. In the Father, the Son, Holy Spirit, Amen. So now, can you turn on all your cameras, please, so that I can take a screenshots for your attendance? Okay, very good. So everyone are present. So now let's start our discussion for today. Are you ready? Okay, very good. Our lesson for today was all about free and bound morphemes. It's about free and bound morphemes. Let's first know, what do you mean by morphemes? So morphemes are smallest units in a language that have meaning. They can be classified as free morphemes, which can stand alone as words, or bound morphemes, which must be combined with another morpheme to form a complete word. So bound morphemes typically appear as affixes in the English language. Okay, so now the two types of morphemes are the free and bound morphemes. So first, let's have the free morpheme. Free morpheme can stand alone with a specific meaning. For example, the word eat, date, and week. So while bound morphemes, these are morphemes that cannot stand alone with the meaning. So morphemes are comprised of two separate classes. These are called the bases or roots and affixes. So a base or root is a morpheme in a word that gives the word its principal meaning. An example of free base morpheme is woman in a word womanly. Okay, so an example of bound base morpheme is sent in the word descent. Okay, are we clear? Okay, very good. So next we will have the affixes. So an affix is a bound morpheme that occurs before and after a base. So an affix that comes before a base is called a prefix. Okay, again, it is called a prefix. So some examples of prefixes are anti, pre, on, and dis, as in the following words. So from the affix anti, we have the word antedate. In the affix pre, we have prehistoric. In affix on, we have the word unhealthy. So in affix dis, we can form a word disregard. Okay, so an affix that comes after a base is called a suffix. Some examples of suffixes are li, ir, ism, and nis, as in the following words. Okay, class, so here it is. So from the affix li, we have a word happily. From the affix ir, we have the word gardener. And from the affix ism, we have the word capitalism. And the affix nis, we have the word kindness. Okay, so free and bound morphemes. So like, for example, a word like house or dog, it is called free morpheme because it can occur in isolation and cannot be divided into smaller meaning units. Okay, so the word quickest is composed of two morphemes, one bound and one free. So the word quick is the free morpheme and carries the basic meaning of the word. So another one example is the word east. Make the word a superlative, and it can a bound morpheme because it cannot stand alone and be meaningful. So alright, class, we will have next is the examples of free morphemes. So free morphemes are considered to be base words in linguistics. Base words that can stand alone, such as book, are known as free bases, while bound bases, including Latin roots like ject. Alright, so it are not individual words in English. Most free morphemes can be modified by affixes to form complex words. So combining two free morphemes creates compound word like mailbox. So while free morphemes modified by affixes are complex words like runner. Okay, class. So there are two kinds of free morphemes based on what they do in sentence: the content words and function words. So again, class, what is it? So these are content words and function words. Okay, so in content words, free morphemes that make up the main meaning of a sentence are content words. Okay, so do you get it? Okay, very good. So their parts of speech include nouns, verbs, and adjectives. So here are some examples of content words from everyday speech. Okay, so in nouns, we have the word girl, hot, house, and fire. In the verbs, we have the word walk, sleep, say, and eat. And in adjectives, we have quick, nice, for, and big. Okay, is it clear, everyone? Okay, very good. So these words are the most important part of a sentence. Okay, this is the most important part of a sentence. The meaning of content words might change when combined with other morphemes, but their free morphemes will still make up the sentence content. Okay, so everything is clear about that. So next we'll proceed to function words. So free morphemes also include function words. These words consist of articles, demonstrations, auxiliaries, quantifiers, preposition, pronouns, and conjunction. So here are some examples of free morphemes as function words. So in article, we have the word the, a, and on. In demonstratives, we have this, that, this, and those. So in auxiliary verbs, we have will, is, must, and does. So in quantifiers also, we have some, many, and few. In prepositions, we have under, over, to, and by. In pronouns, we have he, she, his, and her. Okay, understood? Okay, very good. And also the last one, we have conjunction. So there are words for, and, but, and or. So in function words, it serves as a grammatical connection between content words. So they are not typically combined with affixes, then change their meaning. So next will be the examples of bound morphemes. Okay, so by the way, before I proceed, are we clear or is it understood? Okay, very good. So examples of free morphemes. Okay, so bound morphemes have no linguistic meaning unless they're connected to a root or base word, or in some cases another born morpheme. So prefixes and suffixes are two types of bound morphemes. So depending on how they modify a root word, bound morphemes can be grouped into two categories. So these two categories are, do you have any idea? Alright, so these are inflectional and derivational morphemes. So first, let's have the inflectional morphemes. So this type of morpheme alters the grammatical function of a word, whether it be the verb, tense, number, mood, and other language inflection. So the 8 inflection of morphemes are organized by which part of speech they modify, like this following. So modify a noun, we have s or es. It is pronounced s. And also apostrophe s or s apostrophe. So we have also modify an adjective. We have ir and ist. So in a modify a verb, we have ed, ing, and in. Okay, so these morphemes are suffixes that change a word's condition but not its meaning. When they modify a base word, the rest of the sentence may need to change for proper subject-verb agreement. So some example of these changes are, these are the following. So we have girl to girls, from large to larger, from smart to smartest, from walk to walk-in, from eat to eaten. So those are the following changes. So next we will have the derivational morphemes. So a morpheme is derivational when it changes the semantic meaning of a word. So most derivational morphemes have roots in Greek or Latin. So unlike inflectional morphemes, derivational morphemes can change a word part of a speech. So we have the prefixes and the suffixes. So in prefixes we have pre, on, non, anti, and this. While in suffixes we have is, in, re, it, and ion. Okay, so how you use morphemes also depends on the sentence context. Inflectional morphemes can be used in derivational context. For example, using can be used in for example, using ear to create a word teacher, which could change their classification. Here are some examples also of the ways in derivational morphemes can modify base words. So we have re plus start will come up in the word restart, which means to start again. So also on plus happy, we will have a word unhappy, which means not happy. So and also we have register plus ion. We will come up the word registrations, which means the act of registering. So the last one we have kind plus ness will come up in the word kindness, which means the condition of being kind. So the last topic that we will discuss this afternoon, we will have the difference between free morphemes and bound morphemes. Okay, so as what I've said, there are two types of morphemes. We have the free morphemes and the bound morphemes. So their difference is what? So the difference between of them is that free morphemes can stand alone with a specific meaning, while bound morphemes cannot stand alone with the meaning. Okay, so this is the last part of our topic of our lesson. So here now let me recap about what we've been discussed. So first, again, we first have the meaning of morphemes. So the next one, I've discussed the two types of morphemes, which are free morphemes and bound morphemes. I've also discussed about affixes and also the example of free morphemes and the example of bound morphemes. And also I've discussed about inflectional morphemes and derivational morphemes. I also discussed about prefixes and suffixes. And the last one. So in the last one is the difference between free and bound morphemes. This is the end of our discussion. So now here's your assignment. Create a Venn diagram based on your own understanding and learnings. Compare and contrast the free and bound morphemes. Okay, so that will be all. Thank you. I hope you learned something about this lesson, and thank you guys for your participation. Keep safe, God bless, and goodbye class. See you next time.